Hello guys, it's Dale here with a daily levels commentary for the 17th of November 2017. Let's start with euro dollar. I decided to discard our long level at 1752. Usually I don't discard levels unless there is some strong test of that level. But in this case, I think that the safest thing to do is to discard our long level. The reason is that this rotation right above the level, and I thought that if the price went below that rotation, it isn't very likely to return back in the rotation, and also those lows you can see right there would serve as a strong resistance zone. So that would prevent us from taking the profit target in here. So for that reason I decided to discard this long level. I was thinking pretty hard about it, and I think it's the safer option for us. Also, I was thinking about long level in this area, but I decided not to for two reasons. The first reason is that those volumes that got created in the Asian session are very low, and those volumes created in here were most likely tested by this rejection. So there is not really any volumes that would support this idea of going long from this place. And also I think that, okay, let me draw the line again. And also I think that there could be stop loss orders below those lows. So for those traders who are going long on the euro probably have their stop loss orders below these places, and there are probably a lot of stop loss orders in this area. So I think that those volumes won't really hold the price from shooting past this stop loss area and going rapidly through it. So for that reason I decided not to take that level. So that leaves us with two long levels and one short. The short level is at 1838. It's based on those heavy volumes accumulated in this sideways price action. You can see that there was also very strong rejection of higher prices, and after that there was strong selling activity, indicating that those volumes were volumes of strong sellers and also pretty aggressive ones because of this strong rejection. So I'll be waiting for a pullback to this area and go short from there. So let's have a look at the long levels that I have. The first long I'd like to trade is at 1724, and it's based on this volume cluster. If you look at futures, you can see that also a lot of volumes got accumulated right there in this area. Is a place where I decided to take the long level. So my first long is at 1724, and the second long that I like to trade, I think it's a pretty obvious long level. It's very nicely visible if you look at the profile for this area. You can see very heavy volumes accumulated within this sideways price action area. After that there was smaller rejection of lower prices right there, and very aggressive strong buying activity, indicating that those volumes were volumes of strong buyers accumulating their buying positions in this sideways price action and pushing the price upwards afterwards. So I'll be waiting for a pullback to this area and I'll go long from there. Right, so let's go into the Australian dollar, US dollar. I don't really have any new viable levels that I like to trade there. So let's have a quick look at the development on the Australian dollar, US dollar today, and let me show you why I didn't choose any level in this particular area. The first level that looks pretty viable is right there at 75.70, but if you look at futures data, you will see that this volume cluster isn't really that sharp and that strong as on forex data. Alright, let me show you. So this is futures for the Australian dollar, US dollar. And this is the volume cluster we were talking about. You can see that it's not very significant, and for that reason I'd rather not take that short trade. So let's go back to the forex. This was the level we were talking about. Another level that looks very good if you look at volumes is short from around 75.86, and you can see that it was actually pretty strong support zone. You can see the volumes got accumulated in this area, and then the price just blew past it in the Asian session. I don't really know what the reason was behind this strong move in the Asian session. So this strong support became a resistance zone, and but this is the only reason I would consider taking a short from this area. I don't really see any other reason for going short from there, and for that reason I'm not really into publishing this as an official level that I'm going to trade. For example, if there was volume accumulation right there in this area, so the price chart could look like that, for example, I would have some volumes that would also make a strong resistance zone for the market to react to. So if there was such a volume accumulation there, I would definitely publish this level as an official level. I would definitely like to trade it, but because then there is only the reversal trade idea and nothing else, I won't be publishing it as an official level, and maybe I will try to trade it, but definitely with a smaller position and not with a full position. You may also be considering short from this area, from the volume cluster right there. What I really don't like about it is two things basically. The first one is unsuccessful auction right there. You can see two candles ending at basically at the same place. So if this looked, for example, like that, I would be more willing to take a short from this area. But because the high isn't very strong, it's pretty weak, unsuccessful auction is very weak, I don't really think that going short from this area would be a good idea. Also, those volumes aren't really that big because they were created within the Asian session, and the Asian session isn't that significant for the markets to react to as, for example, the US session. So those were the reasons for not having any short levels in this area, and that leaves us with only one short level, which is at 76.31. And the reason behind that is this sideways price action in which those volumes and also part of those volumes got accumulated. And you can see that after this volume accumulation there was a strong sell-off, indicating that those volumes were volumes of strong sellers. You can also see the heavy volumes on the accumulative profile on the right side of the chart. So for that reason I think that strong sellers were adding to their selling positions there and afterwards pushing the price lower. So I'll be waiting for a short from this area. Let's go into the US dollar, Canadian dollar. There was a losing trade in today's Asian session. It was a long from 27.38. You can see that the price just went past that level and right into the stop loss. Then immediately after that there was a long trade which was a winning trade. So there was one losing, one winning trade in today's Asian session on the US dollar, Canadian dollar. And right now I don't really have any levels that I'd like to trade there. you may have considered going long from this area, from this rejection and from those volumes, but there are two things why I'd rather not to take that trade. The first reason is that those volumes are very near the low of the day of this, and I think that if the price comes back to this area, it will try and consume those volumes and it will shoot past them, past this weaker low, and this would basically mean taking stop loss for us. So for that reason, I'm not really into taking this long level. If those volumes were a little bit higher, let's say in here, it would be definitely better scenario for long trade. But in case like that, when the volumes are almost at the low of this rejection, I'm not really into taking trades from areas like that. And the second reason is that I don't really like trading the same area for the third time. You can see that there was a reaction right there to this level, then there was a second reaction, and I think that if there is a third test of that area, the sellers would go and test below this support, which worked twice, but the more some area is tested, the more it's likely that the next test will shoot past that area. So that's the second reason I don't really want to go into long trade from there. Alright, so for those two reasons, I'm not really into taking a long from this area, and unfortunately there aren't any new levels that I would consider viable to trade, so we will have to wait for new levels to form. Let's go into the US dollar, Japanese yen. There was also very strong selling activity during the Asian session today, and I think that there is one new short level that is pretty viable to trade. It's a short from 112.93, and it's based on this volume cluster that got created in this area within this strong sell-off. So I think that if there is a pullback, those sellers that were accumulating their volumes and pushing the price lower will be defending their selling positions, and they'll push the price lower once more. You can also see that in this area there was a sort of support zone if you look at those volumes, and I think that when the price went past that support zone, that zone became a resistance zone. So this is another reason for me to go short from this area. Apart from that, I also have a older short from 113.40, and this short is based on those volumes and on those volumes that got accumulated within this sideways price action area. You can see that after this volume accumulation, there was a strong sell-off, indicating that those volumes were volumes of strong sellers accumulating their positions there and finally pushing the price lower. So I'll be waiting for a pullback to this area and go short from there. Alright guys, those were today's intraday levels. Have a great weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Monday, and until then, happy trading!